just trust that these products are the best. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, hi, my name is Janelle and I upload new videos every Wednesday and Friday. And in today's video, I figured it'd be really helpful to share with you guys all of my drugstore holy grails, drugstore products that I'm like, if you're shopping and you need something good that you can count on that will perform like high-end makeup, these are the items for you. Basically, the reason I decided to film this is because every time my friends go shopping, they text me like, hey, what's a good drugstore concealer? What's something good that I can get from CVS? Da da da. And I sit there writing them paragraphs of like different options. So I figured I could make this video for them to refer back to. And then you guys, as my virtual best friends, you guys can refer back to this video too. I'll leave everything linked in the description box. You just press the little drop down menu and it'll have everything linked there. I'm gonna try to suggest things that you can pick up from like CVS, Ulta, things like that. Things that you can like physically get if you have somewhere to go. You can run and grab and bring home. If you guys do like this video or find it helpful, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to share this video as well. And also don't forget to check me out on Instagram and TikTok. I show little bite-sized pieces of products I love day to day on those two sites. So check me out on there and let's get into the video. Last thing before we get into this video, I have a feeling is going to be very long. So grab a snack, grab it out with me, and you can also change the playback speed of this video to ×2 speed or like a ×1.25 speed so you can get all the information in a shorter amount of time. I love watching videos that way. All right, let's get in it. I have my bin of products right here. Ooh, that's a lot. You can't have good drugstore makeup without good drugstore skincare. So I just want to share with you guys two base products that I feel like anybody can use. CeraVe moisturizer. This is great for normal to dry skin, but I even feel like if you're oily, this is really good because it's not a super thick consistency. Great for sensitive skin. It gets the job done and hydrates it. And then if you are more dry, they do have a night cream that you could use as a day cream for really dry skin. The next product is my favorite drugstore skincare product, and it's the Honest Beauty Vitamin C Serum. I've tried more high-end vitamin C serum, and for whatever reason they just don't work on my skin. I don't know if my skin's just really sensitive. Honest Beauty though uses like natural ingredients and things like that, and I think it's like free of parabens and all of that. So I really enjoy this vitamin C serum, and if your skin is sensitive like mine, you'll probably really enjoy this too. I was being really strict too when pulling products there. I could have pulled out like 5 products for each category, but I was really trying to narrow it down. That way this video wouldn't be overwhelming. There was only one drugstore primer that I could take with me. Only one. e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. The reason why I picked this primer over every other drugstore primer that I have is because I love this primer more than any high-end primer that I own, and whenever I need my makeup to wear beautifully throughout the day and just glide on my skin really nice, this is the primer that I grab for. It's a really nice thicker putty material. As you can see, I love and use and abuse this, and I get the universal one, so it's great for like combination skin. They do have a more mattifying one, and then they also have a more hydrating one, but I find the one that is in the middle is great because it's not going to be too slippery on the skin to where your makeup won't adhere. It gives like a nice balance, just like satin finish to the skin, and really smooths it out. If you have large pores like me, this primer is gonna be your best friend, and the best part is that it's only $8. Moving on to foundations, I'm gonna break it down for like normal combination skin, oily skin, and dry skin. So the first one that's great for pretty much all skin types is the L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear Foundation. This is a really nice satin matte foundation. It's not going to be too matte, not too glowy. This wears beautifully on the skin throughout the day. And what's also amazing about this is that it has like, it's not too thin of a consistency, but it's not too thick. So it's gonna give you that perfect coverage without looking cakey. You could totally build this up to a super full coverage, or you can just use a really small pump and really buff it into the skin and get a very natural finish. This is actually what I have on my skin right now, and I truly love it. I think this performs just like any high-end foundation, except this one's only like $12. Following that, if your skin is more on the oily side, you get really shiny throughout the day, I really recommend the Maybelline Matte and Poreless Foundation. This is going to give you that very like velvet powdery matte finish, but it's not going to look cakey on the skin. It's still going to have that like thinner, not thin, like that medium consistency that's not gonna like look like it's just globbed on your skin too heavy, but it's a perfect consistency to where you can build it up and get a very full coverage with it. And this also wears beautifully throughout the day. This reminds me of like a MAC Studio Fix Fluid or the Lancome Tawny Doll foundation. It has that similar vibe to it. And then another foundation I want to talk about that I actually don't have on hand, but it'll be great for pretty much all skin types, and it'll give the most coverage out of all the foundations that I'm going to talk about today, is the Milani Conceal and Perfect foundation. That one is beautiful. It's a nice satin matte finish, very full coverage. It is going to be a thicker consistency, but since it's not such a dry matte finish, it melts on the skin and it does not look cakey, and you could always just apply less of it and get more of that like medium coverage, or apply like a regular amount of it and then it'll be super full coverage. That foundation is beautiful though. Then the last foundation I'm going to discuss for more drier skin is the L'Oreal True Match Lumi. This reminds me so much of my Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Foundation, except for this one is going to be a little bit more glowy on the skin. And what's great about this foundation is that you can build it up and it's not going to look cakey because it is going to be more of that liquidy, thin consistency. But if you just apply like a pea-sized amount and really buff it in, it literally just looks like a second layer of skin. So beautiful. I have videos of me talking about this foundation when I literally like first started my channel ever, almost like 10 years ago. So the foundation I'm using is the Lumi in the color in warm nude beige. And I'm just going to go ahead and pump that on the back of my hand. So you know that it's a good foundation when it's stayed in my recommendations over the past like 8 years. If I had to just pick two drugstore concealers, these are the two that I would pick. So the first is the Milani Conceal Imperfect Concealer. This is really good for more combination oily skin. It's going to be a full coverage, but it's not going to look cakey. The consistency of this is just like so many other high-end concealers. It's great. It doesn't crease throughout the day. You get that really smooth velvet finish underneath of the eye. Then the next concealer I'm going to talk about is my e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. This one is really good for normal to drier skin. It's going to have more of that satin finish. It reminds me a lot of the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer, except for this one is a little bit more coverage. I love this because you get that full coverage, kind of like Tarte Shape Tape under eye, except since it is that satiny finish, it's not going to look as like dry or cakey underneath of the eyes. You can use a little bit of this if you just want a light wash of it, or you could, you know, put a regular amount and you get that flawless under eye finish. Then lastly, if your skin is very oily, then I would suggest this concealer, the e.l.f. Camo Concealer. This one, again, if your skin's very oily, it's going to be a very matte, full coverage finish. However, if you are more normal to dry, this is going to be a little bit too mattifying for you. If you do end up trying this with more like normal combination, make sure to put a really thick eye cream underneath. The e.l.f. concealers are only $6, and I want to say the Milani concealer is maybe like $7 or $8. And again, they perform just like high-end concealers. Oh yeah, wait, there was one more concealer I wanted to talk about, and that is the Kokie Be Bright Under Eye Concealer. I don't have it with me on hand because I went through it. I need to get another one. But that is like the perfect just everyday concealer. It literally smooths out your under eye. The consistency is a nice thin consistency, so it's just great to use on its own. It'll cover up your darkness, blend into bare skin beautifully without looking like you have anything on. It's amazing. Now moving on to drugstore face powders. I'm gonna start off with drugstore pressed powders, and then we'll move on to the loose powders. So starting off, literally one of my favorite powders of all time, whether it's drugstore or not. I love this powder, and it is the No7 Perfect Light Powder. This one's in the shade medium, and the color payoff isn't really like a thick full coverage powder. To me, it's more transparent. I think there's like a light, medium, and dark, but you really cannot see the color payoff that much. This is honestly really good for all skin types. I use this in the winter when my skin was drier, and it still set my makeup great without like drying it up or making it look too cracked and matte. But then also in the summertime when my skin was a little bit more oily, I was able to use this, and it set my makeup, really locked it in place all day, but it just didn't look super heavy or powdery. Honestly, this is just a great powder just to have no matter what your skin type is like. Now, if your skin is more on the oily side and you want something to really just take away that shine and truly give it that matte finish, then the Maybelline Matte and Poreless powder is really good too. This one's gonna have a little bit more of a color payoff to it. The consistency of this powder reminds me a lot of my MAC Studio Fix powder, except for this one is literally only $5. Such a beautiful powder. It smooths out the skin, gives it that velvet matte finish. Now, if you are more on the drier side and you want a fuller coverage powder, I wouldn't per se do this one, but I have another one I'm gonna share with you guys that for normal to dry skin people, you're gonna love. And that is the JCat Beauty Aquassurance Compact Powder. This thing looks janky, but it's so good. It's like a really beautiful velvety finish. I don't know if you can tell. It just like smooths it out, sets the makeup without mattifying it too much. Such a beautiful powder. It is going to be a little bit more of a fuller coverage, so if you are applying this on top of foundation, just use a really fluffy brush with it and you can't go wrong. Now, when it comes to loose powders, these are two loose powders that perform just like high-end powders. If your skin is more normal combination, even if you're oily, you could totally use this powder too. It's the Kokie Translucent Powder. This is actually what I have all over my face and also underneath of my eyes to bake. What I love about this powder is that it's a more fine consistency. So it's not gonna go on too thick or heavy, so that if you do have more texture on your skin, wrinkles, or again, you're a little bit more on the drier side, this is a powder that you can use that's not gonna just like dry up your skin and settle in any texture or crevices on the skin. It smooths everything out beautifully. It reminds me so much of my high-end powders, like my Hourglass one. This one's so similar to it, except this is only $9. And then if you are more on the oily side, or if you want a powder to bake with that's gonna give you a little bit more coverage than the Kokie one and like be a little bit brighter underneath of the eye, the Maybelline Fit Me Loose Powder it's amazing. This performs just like my Huda Beauty powder. If anything, I think I prefer this one a little bit more. It's gonna be a little bit more brightening underneath of the eyes. It's gonna give you that extra coverage, but it's not gonna look cakey. It is a little bit thicker, but it's not too thick to where it's just going to look really heavy underneath the other eyes. I find that with the Huda Beauty one, although I do really like it, it is a thicker powder, so I do have to be careful because if I apply too much, it just looks way too heavy and just like dry and creepy underneath of the eyes. Now, when it comes to cream bronzers and contour, there is like one that just like takes the cake. I hold so dear to my heart, and it is my Maybelline Fit Me foundation. This is in the shade 355 Cocoa. Looks like this, and I believe they added more shades, so now they have like a darker color too that you can use as your bronzer if you are a deeper complexion. It's not even a cream bronzer, but I just use it as one. But basically this one just like blends out so seamlessly. It melts into the skin. It doesn't go on patchy. It doesn't look heavy. It looks beautiful on bare skin with like no other makeup. You can wear it on top of foundation. It doesn't like pick up the foundation. It literally, like, I remember swatching the Makeup by Mario Soft Sculpt bronzer when he came out with them, and I didn't get it because I was like, this literally feels just like my Maybelline Fit Me foundation stick that's only $5. Now, if you're looking for an option that will give you that same like melted into the skin finish, but you want to have a wider color selection, the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer is also an amazing cream bronzer slash contour. I use a shade 50, but I think that it goes up to the shades like 65 and 70 now. Then another cream bronzing slash contour product that performs just like a $50 one that I own is the e.l.f. Putty Bronzer. This literally performs just like my Chanel Tan de Soleil bronzer, except this is 50 and this is like $9. Now the only thing is, obviously you're gonna get a lot less product, but this is what it looks like. And this is great for like a beginner that wants to use a cream bronzer where you want it to blend out for you. You don't want it to be too opaque because you're worried about having harsh lines. It's very sheer, but you can build it up. It's gonna give you a very, very natural finish. And to me, it's foolproof because of how easy it blends out and also how sheer it is. It's hard to mess it up or to get like too harsh of lines on the face. Oh yeah, I also forgot to talk about this cream contour slash bronzer. The Wet n Wild contour sticks, they blend out beautifully. This is in between the opacity of the Maybelline Fit Me foundation stick and the e.l.f. Putty Bronzer. It's gonna be right in the middle. It's really easy to blend out without getting cakey. And I get mine in the shade, honestly, I've tried so many of the shades. This is a shade Where's Walnut. I also used to use the shade Oaks on You and the shade Maple. I get like lighter ones if I want something just like really easy to use, or darker ones if I want something more intense. Following that, let's talk about cream blushes. There's only one cream blush from the drugstore that really has stood out to me above all other ones. There's other ones that I like, but this one I love. And it is the e.l.f. Putty Blush. They have a bunch of shades, but this is one of my favorites. It's the color Bora Bora. This is such a beautiful just cream blush in general. It's a really nice light baby doll pink. Melts into the cheeks beautifully. This looks good underneath of powders, or you can even layer this on top of powders, and it's not going to pick up the powder or the foundation like a lot of cream blushes tend to do. I swear, anything from the e.l.f. poreless line, like, you can't go wrong with it. They're so good. All right, moving on to drugstore bronzers. I'm gonna quickly breeze by this first one because I've talked about it a million times. The Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. This is like one of the most buttery, smooth bronzers. Never goes on the skin patchy. Great for so many different skin types. They have color selections for more like deeper tan skin, and then they also have a color selection for more fair skin that's not gonna look too orange. It's just a great bronzer all around. Like, even amongst high-end bronzers, this is a great contender. Then the second product I'm going to talk about is not a bronzer, but I use it as a bronzer. And this is a new discovery for me, and I am hooked. It's so beautiful. And it is the No7 Lift and Illuminate Triple Action Finishing Powder. I get mine in the shade medium to use as like a very light wash bronzer. They also have, I think, a medium dark and a dark. I just love the way this melts into the skin, and it gives like a really soft glow, but there's no shimmer in it. It's just like the way the formula is, a really pretty sheen to it. I mean, even when I put it on my skin, it really doesn't do much. I don't know, when I go in with my bronzing brush and apply it, like, it just does just enough of that warmth to the skin without being too crazy intense. And I heard that this is supposed to be a dupe for the Charlotte Tilbury bronzers. I don't know. If it is, it's amazing. So when it comes to highlighters, the first one that I love so much is my ColourPop Wisp Super Shock Cheek highlighter. It looks like this. It's a really nice champagne color, and they do have a wide color selection. This one I find just works good for my skin, but they have, you know, lighter ones for more fair skin. And I like this because it's like a cream slash powder, so you can use it underneath your powders, or you can use it on top of your powders like I do. Melt into the skin. It's not going to pick up the foundation or the powder or move it around, and it just gives this really like wet, melted into the skin finish that I love. Then the next highlighter that I love is the Wet n Wild highlighters. This is in the shade Precious Petals. This is great for a more tan complexion. However, if you are fair, it might be a little bit too dark, but the way it melts into the skin is just stunning, and I want to say it's only like $5 or $6. And then if you want a highlighter that's going to give you a little bit of everything, this Kokie strobing palette is beautiful. First off, it comes with a cream highlight here that is just stunning, and then you get all three of these highlights. So this one you could definitely use for more fair skin. Then these two you can mix together and create more of like that Wet n Wild finish of like a more peachy highlight. And this bronze one would be beautiful for more like deeper skin tones, or you can mix them all together even if you're more of like a medium complexion. All right, I wanted to talk about these because I didn't want to wait till all the way to the end in case you guys don't make it. But these Maybelline lip glosses are my favorite lip glosses of all time, like drugstore or high-end. These are so good, stunning. They're like the perfect opacity. You can wear them on its own. You can wear them on top of lip products. Super glossy, not sticky. The applicator is amazing too. Like, just do yourself a favor and get these glosses. Like, I don't even know why I own any high-end glosses when these perform just like any of my MAC glosses, any of my fancy glosses, except these are only like $7. They are beautiful. When it comes to eyeliners, there's two brands that I get my liners from. For pencil liners, I love LA Girl. This one in the shade Penny is like all I've been using in my waterline lately. It's a really nice, I'm like running out of spaces to swatch. It's a really nice like champagne-y gold tone. Super creamy. It also sticks to the waterline really nice. I find that that's hard to find sometimes. Liners will be very creamy, and then when you apply them in your waterline, they don't stick. This formula sticks really nice. It's the Shockwave line from LA Girl. And then I also really like the LA Girl Ultimate Intense Auto Liners. This one's in the shade Lasting Brown. It's what I have in my top lash line and on the inner part of my eye. Super creamy. Only thing is that you want to make sure you really close the cap nice and tight because it can dry out a little bit. So sometimes I'll have to like warm it up on my hand first and then apply it. But they wear really nice throughout the day. Color selection is beautiful, and they're only like $3 or $4. And then when it comes to liquid liner, Resistance Formula eye pens are like my favorite over even any high-end eyeliner that I've tried. That's it right there. I get them in the shade Rich Brown and Brown. And what I love most about it is the applicator. It's not a felt tip, it's a brush tip. So I find that it stays really inky. It doesn't dry out fast at all. Like I've had this eyeliner probably for like 6 months now. And normally by that time, any liquid pen that I've tried that was high-end has dried out. No, this stays super, super liquidy. I can't recommend this enough. All right, you guys already know how I feel about my Maybelline Lasting Fix Setting Spray. This is my favorite setting spray of all time. This stuff really locks in your makeup all day. And I will spray this like after I do all my cream products and apply my powder, then spray it again at the end. I'll even throw it in my bag and like touch up maybe every like 6 hours just to really keep my makeup locked in place all day if I know I have to be somewhere later in the evening and I won't be able to get ready again. This is what I can count on to keep my face just in place all day. Also, whenever I do clients' makeups, I always use this. I normally use it paired with my MAC Fix Plus though. But anyways, and all my clients always talk about how well their makeup wears throughout the day, and this plays a huge role in that because I'll continuously spray this throughout the consultation with them, and they've literally told me stories of them like going to a party, waking up at 4 a.m. and their makeup is still like perfectly intact, and a huge part of that is this setting spray. When it comes to brow pencils, I feel like it's been hard for me to find like drugstore brow pencils that I really like, and so far this Maybelline Total Temptation brow pencil is like the only drugstore brow pencil that I actually enjoy. It has like a nice little angled applicator like that, what I have in my brows right now, and I just get it in the shade medium brown. I like it because it'll like grip to the skin. It's not too powdery, not too waxy, and it just like lasts and wears really nice on my brows. Not too much to say other than that it's just like a good brow pencil, and I've been like steered wrong from a lot of people on brow pencils that they'll be like, this drugstore brow pencil is so good. I'll go and try it and it like doesn't grip to my hairs enough, or it doesn't grip to my skin enough, or it doesn't wear nice throughout the day. That one though I find wears really nice, blends up, goes on really easily, and all of that. All right, so I'm gonna talk about 2 drugstore mascaras that I really love, that I feel like perform like a lot of high-end mascaras. And one's gonna be like for more volume and length, the other one's gonna be for more length and separation. Length and separation one, I really like the Maybelline Sky High mascara. That one's great if you like more of a subtle lash. It has like a nice little plastic wand to it, so it's gonna give you that separation, it's gonna give you a ton of length. However, if you're somebody that likes a lot of volume, it will take a couple coats to build that up. So that is something that I definitely recommend for somebody that likes a more subtle, long, separated lash. Now, if you like more length, volume, drama, but that isn't too clumpy, then the Maybelline False Lash Lift Mascara is where it's at. Mine is all crusty dusty. This is what the wand looks like on this one. It's what I have on my lower lashes, and honestly, I could have not even put on false lashes today because this is just such a good mascara. Gives you, again, that length, that volume, that curl. It doesn't flake. Neither of the mascaras that I'm talking about flake, which is my huge pet peeve. For example, everybody always raves about this Essence mascara, which I do enjoy, but I have to layer another mascara on top because if I just use this on its own, it will start crumbling. This one and the Sky High do not crumble throughout the day. They wear really nice. Just love them. Great drugstore mascara. A couple of eye products, like eyeshadows. There's not really like one drugstore eyeshadow palette that I love. A lot of the more affordable palettes that I love are from like ColourPop, like the Jaclyn Hill Morphe palette, but those can like go up to like 20, 30 bucks. So I wanted to keep everything like 15 and under. So I'm going to show you guys like single eyeshadows that I like to try. But I mean, just know that those options that I just mentioned are good, affordable options. Kokie also has a good eyeshadow palette, but again, I want to say it's like $15 to $20. When it comes to single eyeshadows from the drugstore that are going to be amazing, just like a high-end eyeshadow, and I talked about this literally, I think it was 2014. Like, I'll find the video and pop it on the screen here because I literally remember talking about these eyeshadows in that video.
The first drugstore eyeshadow that I feel like everybody should try out is the L'Oreal Infallible eyeshadows. I feel like everybody should try out all of these just because they are seriously that amazing. But the one shade that I feel like everybody and their mother should pick up because it looks great on everybody is the shade Amber Rush by L'Oreal.
I'm going to talk about it again in this one. The L'Oreal Infallible little loose eye pigments. These are where they are at. If you're just looking for like one eyeshadow to just toss all across your eyelid, not even think about anything else and just run out the door, this one in the shade Amber Rush, this was literally like all I would wear in high school. This was my everyday eyeshadow look. This all over my eye. I think I would put bronze in my crease and like a little wing every single day for school. It never failed me. And it's timeless because it's what I have on my eyes right now and I still think it's really pretty. Now I do need a new one of these because mine started to dry out considering it's like 7 years old. I literally need to toss. I'm gonna toss this out and buy a new one, but just know that these are beautiful. If you're more of a cream shadow person, the Maybelline Color Tattoo cream eyeshadows are also amazing. I remember also using these when I first started my channel. This is a newer color I got, I think maybe like a year and a half ago. It's in the shade Socialite. It's a nice rosy color. Looks like that. It's that one right there. Just great. Throw it all over your lid. Some mascara, run out the door. These remind me so much of like my MAC paint pots, except I think I prefer these a little bit more. Like these really do stay put all day. They also have such a wide color selection. So definitely recommend these. Milani also makes really pretty single shadows too that are very creamy and opaque. This one's in the shade Bell Copper. Then ColourPop Super Shock shadows are also beautiful. Again, this you would probably get from like a Ulta or something. They're just like really pretty, very, very pigmented. So when it comes to drugstore lip pencils, there's two brands that are my holy grail. This one is NYX. I've talked about this so much on my channel. These are literally just like MAC lip pencils, except they're a fraction of the cost, a sharpened kind. So if you like to get a really sharp point each time, this is perfect for you. Also, if you're a makeup artist, these are great because they're only like $4 a pop and they have such a wide color selection. They don't feather throughout the day. They go on really nice. The pigmentation is great. And then if you are somebody that likes more of a retractable pencil, these Maybelline Color Sensational lip pencils, I literally just discovered, but I cannot get enough of them. They're so creamy. Literally, they just they glide it right on. They're so long wearing. They're not gonna run on you throughout the day. They're just stunning. I have them in these shades Magnetic Mauve and Totally Toffee, which I think the Totally Toffee's in my bag, but seriously, love those lip pencils so much. They're so good. Then as far as lipstick goes, I love myself a Milani matte lip color. It's actually one of my favorite colors of all time, and it's the Milani Matte Tender. Perform just like a high-end lip product. Wear really nice throughout the day. Matte but not too drying. I also really love Maybelline matte lipsticks and honestly Maybelline lipsticks in general. I'm going to share with you guys two colors that I love from them. This one is Mauve for me, just like a good everyday lip color. I also really like the shade Baddest Beige right there. Really nice like pinky light nude. I also really love the NYX matte lip creams. This one's in the shade Abu Dhabi. I also love the shade London. Literally so great. Matte finish, not too drying, not too opaque either, so you can wear it more sheer. You can't go wrong with this lip product. These lip colors are beautiful. And I think I've talked about them before, but the Kokie lip veneers, this is literally just like the Patrick Tall Silky lip creams, except these are only $9. When I tell you that these give...
Like, that is the ugliest swatch ever.
Alright, so that's the color there. When I tell you that these give you the most beautiful glossy finish without like being too sticky or without your hair just like smearing it across your face, they actually wear a really long time too while still giving you that glossy finish, which is really hard to get that combination. These are products I've talked about a ton, but if you're somebody that likes a very long wearing lip color, the Revlon 16-hour lipsticks, I have these in like 6 colors. Yeah, I have them in like 6 shades. These are great if you want like a mask proof lipstick, or if you hate whenever you like drink something and your lipstick rim is on there. This is great because it does not transfer, wears really nice throughout the day. The only thing I will say with these is that you can't continuously like touch up with them. So like if you have the lip color on and you want to touch up, you have to remove the whole lip color and then reapply. Because if you start touching up and doing layers on top of each other, it will start to literally peel off your lip. So that's the annoying part, but the good thing about this is that you don't have to touch up nearly as much because it is a 16-hour wear. With that being said, clearly I'm done. My brain has checked out. We're done with this video, but I hope that you guys enjoyed it and found it helpful. Again, I will leave everything linked down below. And I'm sorry I wasn't able to go like super in depth about each product because I really wanted to like make this one video and not break it up into a million parts. But just know that everything that I suggested, I love so much. It will all be linked down below. If you guys want to see more like drugstore videos like this, let me know in the comments down below. Give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. And check me out on Instagram and TikTok. I love you guys from the bottom of my heart. I pray that you all have a great day. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Like, do you guys ever have those people that like say you're in a meeting and like there's just people that just love to hear themselves talk? Like just every 2 seconds they have to give their input about something. I could never be one of those people because I literally get tired of my voice in the middle of a conversation. It's so strange. Like I'll literally start like a story and then I'm like, ew, I hate talking. I hate hearing myself talk and I just want to stop. All right, bye guys.